What?
Adventures of a little girl continue. A little girl with big ideas. Chapter 4. My surprise gift. Surprises come in many forms. Some are good surprises, others can better be described as a shock. What was my birthday present that was not what one would have expected? It was something that I, in fact, gave to myself as a promise. In many ways, it was a major transformative gift to myself. The gift to myself grew not only from the disappointment of not receiving the present of a two-wheel bicycle on my 13th birthday, one similar to the blue and white Schwinn my younger sister Sandy received just 2 months earlier on her 11th birthday. It also came from the surprises of moving from a very small farm town into the much larger neighboring suburban commuter community. Our family's move gave me my first experience of culture shock when I was 11 years old. Perhaps culture shock is not quite an accurate term, and it was a word that was not even used at that time back in 1951. Surprise, shock, adjustment, whatever the label, it was not an easy time for me. And yet, as the saying goes, if it, meaning the experience, doesn't kill you, it will make you stronger. Ultimately, moving from our small town to a larger one made me stronger and certainly prepared me for a world beyond the small farming town of Kamak. Before we moved there, when I was 5, our family lived in the even smaller places further east on Long Island in St. James and near Smithtown. How small had my world been? Like most of us, our beginning world spans only our parents, siblings, grandparents, and gradually expands to aunts, uncles, cousins, then neighbors, church friends, and by school age, like ripples in a small pond, the circles widen. My world gradually grew larger as I entered kindergarten half days in a room combined with first graders totaling 15 students. This, folks, was before the baby boom generation went through like a elephant going through a boa. The new brick school housed a grand total of 100 students from kindergarten through 8th grade in 5 classrooms, many combining 2 grade levels. I was impressed with teachers and still recall their names: Mrs. Miller, kindergarten; Miss Nair in 1st and again in 3rd grades; Miss Hubbs, 2nd grade; Miss Beck, 4th and 5th grades. In 1951, the school principal taught the largest 8th grade graduating class ever in that town, with a total of 8, counted on less than one hand and a half, 8 students. Not only had my world been very small, but I was shy. For most everyone who knows me now, it's hard to believe that as a child I was ever shy. My personality now is so much the opposite that even for me, it's hard to recall being reticent and introverted. I experienced this first culture shock when my family moved to the much larger neighboring town of Huntington. From only 1 of 5 students in 5th grade, except during the weeks of fall harvesting and spring planting when the farm labor migrants' children doubled our enrollment, sitting on the floor since there were no seats or books for them, I became one of 30 students in a 6th grade classroom, one of 66 graders at that one school within Huntington's township of many elementary schools. The next year, I learned to survive another wave of culture shock, entering the even larger world of Huntington's Toaz Junior High School with 1,100 students in grades 7, 8, and 9. Prior to being exposed to this larger world, my experience in the small farm town had been that 8th graders would disappear from my world to reappear later with children. My young mind thought that after 8th grade graduation, the path onward was marriage and settling down into farming and raising a family. My parents were not farmers, but that small community of Kamek on Long Island formed my limited worldview. Little did I know that years later, my son would meet someone who was just getting in or out of 8th grade, and he was still in high school, and that's the beginning of forever. My dear Aunt Lillian, my mother's youngest sister, even described shy and introverted me as a hothouse flower, predicting that I would settle down in that small farm town as a farmer's wife. Little did she know that her prediction for my future would be so far off her mark. Life can be full of surprises. After school, coming home on my 13th birthday to a locked door and an empty house was not expected. No bike, no welcome, no birthday surprise that day. Everyone close to me in this new house in a new neighborhood of a new residential development carved out from a forest of tall trees was at work, or in my younger sister's case, in an after-school activity. The only thing different that it was my birthday, my first day as a teen. And there was no bike, just a hidden key for me that day, a latchkey kid on my birthday. I knew I was loved. I knew my parents were just being protective, and I knew that, unlike my athletic sister, I was considered clumsy. I determined right there and then that I would venture farther than any bicycle could ever travel. That promise would be my birthday gift to myself.
Dun, dun, dun.
Stop the recording.
Curtain closes. I like the drama.
Did you like that chapter?
Yeah, that was really good.
I added the part about you two. That wasn't written into it.
That was ad-libbed. Nicely done.
I ad-libbed it because you were watching and I didn't want Shiloh to repeat it. For maybe future generations.
Because it went so poorly for us, is that one?
No.
Okay, that was really good. I'm going to end this recording for that one. Dun, dun, dun.